into modern times. The laws of nature. Into modern times. The laws of nature. We have constructed. Into modern times.
Hello. We're going to continue on the game development. I already have an idea for. So yesterday we were working on an audio occlusion system. I already have an idea of how to do it better. Doing basically cone tracing. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna test the performance of that and benchmark it compared to the ray tracing. If it's really slow, I'm not gonna use it. Also, I'm gonna get some more sound effects off free sound later. But yeah. And apparently there's not a debug draw sphere, so I might need to make a debug sphere function. So that's how I'm thinking of doing the cone tracing. is testing multiple spheres like that and measuring the distance until it hits something.
Into the dark, into the light. We live in a special time space.
Alright, now we're going to benchmark it.
It's not a game. We live in a special time space. It's not a game. Into the dark, into the light. We live in a special time space. It's not a game. We live in a special time space. It's not a game.
Employment, a song y'all can step with. Y'all appointed me to bring rap justice, but I ain't 5-0, y'all know it's Najo. Grey Goose and a whole lot of hydro. Only describe us as soldier survivors. Stay laced in the best, well dressed with finesse in the white tee, looking for wifey. A girl who fly and talk so nicely. Put her in the coupe so she can feel the night breeze. We can drive through the city, no doubt, but don't say my car's topless. Say the titties is out. Newness, here's the anthem. Put your hand up that you shoot with, count your loot with. Push the pool stick in your new crib, same hand that you hoop with. Swing around like you stupid. King of the town. Yeah, I've been there. You know I click clack where you and your men's at. Through the smurf, through the wop, baseball bat. Rooftop like we bringing 88 back. They shooting. I made you look. You a slave to a page in my rhyme book. Getting big money, playboy, your time's up. Where them gangsters, where them dimes at? They shooting. I made you look. They shooting. I made you look. They shooting. I made you look.
You a slave to a page in my rhyme book. They shooting. They shooting. I made you look. They shooting. Let the music diffuse all attention. They I made you look. They every minute, every second, every minute, every second, every minute, every second, every minute. Man, I swear that she can get it. Every second, every minute, she can get it. Every second, every minute, she can get it. Every second, every minute. She can get it every second, every minute. She can say if you a bad bitch, put your hands up high, hands up high, hands up high. Tell them dim the lights down right now. Put me in the mood. I'm talking about dark room perfume.
Hey Situ, I just crashed Unity twice in a row. Feels bad, man. It just said there were 23 instances of Unity's processes running. What the hell is that? I don't even want to think about what this engine's doing behind the scenes. At least it doesn't take that long to boot. Alright. Let's make this way faster. It's having issues with my program as well, trying to port to Windows. Yeah, porting cross-platform stuff is insanely hard, or annoying. Not just hard, but annoying. I almost like always give up on it and just decide to write, like if I do cross-platform, I take it into account when I begin writing the program. Otherwise I never do it. I was running the program, but even if I closed it, it would be running in the background. Yeah, you have to respond to Windows events. Alright, 3,000 cone traces per second. Is that good? I'm sure that's that amazing. Because I didn't load GLAD actually, I was polling events, but yeah. I've had that though where I don't answer the quit event, so it never actually closes, or I don't actually shut down the process after the quit event. What am I doing here? This should run quicker. It should check sphere and then break out of the loop. I guess it's still not that that fast. Let's try the ray tracing. How many ray traces per second are we gonna get? It's good now? Good. Alright, on the other hand, we've got like 100,000 ray traces per second. Very interesting. So ray tracing is way faster than doing many overlap spheres. Yeah, that's a really big number. 1426. Yeah, that's literally 1 million ray traces per second. 1.4 million ray traces per second. That's pretty good. That's bad. I mean, for a physics engine on the CPU, I don't think it's that bad. Oh god, I think I just crashed it again. Oh my god. Oh wait, it loaded. Come on, exit out. There we go, thank god. Alright, so it can do about 3,000 cone traces per second. It's not really that good. You need volumetric propagation, that'd be faster. What I'm trying to do right now, or I think I'm still gonna do this because it probably gives a way better result, but instead of ray tracing, I'm gonna do cone tracing, like this. Like tracing spheres out in larger and larger radiuses, kind of like ray marking on Shader Toy. And then this is going to be how I measure the different angles. I gotta get these spheres to line up though, so it actually measures like the full shape around the player, or gives a decent approximation. Ray marking cool? Yeah, kind of. I'm also wondering if I should cache the objects it hits, because that would actually be a cool thing to access. Like being able to just access whatever object is closest in this direction to the player. Like doing overlap sphere non-allocate into a single buffer, so then you can get the objects that is in that direction. Or the object. Ray marking in bitcoins. NFT cast rays. Did any of you guys ever see that website where you pay for a pixel? I honestly think you could do something that's like pay for a ray. Hold on. The $1 Million homepage. $1 Million homepage is a website conceived in Alex to a student from Wiltshire, England, to raise money for his university education. The homepage consisted of 1 million pixels arranged in a 1000 by 1000 pixel grid. The image-based links on it were sold for $1 per pixel in 10 by 10 blocks. The purchases of these pixel blocks provided tiny images to be displayed on them, a URL to which the images were linked, and a slogan to be displayed when hovering the cursor over the link. Aim of the website was to sell all the pixels in the image, thus generating $1 million of income. Wall Street Journal commented that the site inspired other websites that sell pixels. No, I never heard of it. During the 2006 auction, the website was subject to DDoS attacks, a ransom demand which left it inaccessible. Two dropped out of the business degree the site was set up to fund. After one term, the $1 Million homepage was still receiving thousands of viewers in 2019. Many of the website's links suffer from link rot, which has caused the URLs to no longer function as they were originally intended. Yeah, I do think it's a pretty good idea. This is pretty much a scam. I don't know, it's honestly a similar idea to advertising on the internet. I bet the Wikipedia devs are sitting there going, shit, we should have just made one of these pixel pages, because they're always asking for donations. They should just make one of these pixel pages. I know, similar website, but for NFT presentation, they sell voxels to set your NFT there. Already talked about last month, I think. Yeah, and didn't you say, is it accessible in VR? I think I actually remember how to do this. Or I think I've done something like this before. I think the value is like 1.777. So if we multiply this again. Or it's whatever value is like, shit, I can't remember. Is it like square root 2? Oh wait, it might be 1.4. Wait. It's either this. No, yeah, it's 1.4, I think. Wait, never mind. It's 3D. It's this number. Never mind, I was wrong. I was wrong. All about VR, I think I unfollowed it. Twitter guy who promoted it. Cannot remember link. Damn. Probably for the better. I don't necessarily want you to link it unless it's like a Wikipedia page or an article. I would rather see an article or something explain it than actually link to an NFT. Why is this creating extra space? As rad goes up, the radius should also go up. Huh. Okay, I actually don't get this. If radius is going up, it's doing direction times rad. Oh, wait. So rad isn't the same as... Let me just do this with a while loop. Talks about their site only in context of good Yeah, I remember it was a Babylon JS project. Really good and super fast by load and performance. One of the best I saw on WebGL with full dynamic loads of content that loads in real time. Nice. Do you know how many voxels it was? I think the pixel website's interesting because 1,000 by 1,000, I mean, actually by modern standards that's not that much. How much would 1,000,000 voxels be? So that would only be an 100 by 100 voxel grid. I guess, alright, I guess I just need to multiply it, whatever. Oh, no, that wasn't the right value either. I don't know if size, but it's very large, maybe infinite. You can go anywhere. Obviously, it loads only neighbor voxels in some range. Nice. Do you know how much, do people buy single voxels, or is it like you buy a plot of voxels? Worst part of it, GIFs. Lots of NFT is GIF size of 100 megabyte. Oh my god, that's so dumb. There we go, that's the perfect size. This actually seems to be pretty good scanning. Might want to do square root 3, I guess. You can buy anything, lots of sold when I look, many FT. Yeah, I'm sure you could get anything. I'm sure people literally sell like paper clips. For me, it was surprising just how fast Babylon JS is in this not very simple project. Huh. Okay, I figured out I'm doing this stupid. It just needs to be rad plus rad. I start this out at math square root 3. The radius is the radius. Alright, almost. For me, it was just surprising how fast Babylon JS is in this not very simple project. I mean, I'm sure the developer did tons of optimizations himself. From what I'm aware, Babylon JS is very much a do-it-yourself engine for like programmers. It's very tied into JavaScript. Why does rad plus equals rad? Oh my god, it's because it's a fucking radius. I get it. Of course, duh. Your spheres on screen look literally like raycasting. Yeah, I'm trying to do cone tracing using spheres. This is how we're gonna do audio occlusion that is realistic. And what I figured out is that this can be reused for many other systems. You basically just cache whatever object it hits, and then you also have an easy way of searching up like what's the nearest object to the player in the x-axis, which I think is a really useful thing. Start with a smaller sphere size. Yeah, I'm gonna have the ability to start with a smaller sphere size. I'm actually thinking that this isn't possible. What I'm trying to do isn't, like, it's not the way math works. I'm trying to get the spheres to both touch here and touch here to the other spheres on another axis, but that's not how it works. When you have the spheres touch on the other axis, because the axes are farther away from each other because they require diagonal movement, then that means that they no longer touch on the single axis. I'm literally trying to do something that's impossible. I'm dumb. Okay, now that's too big. 2F. There we go. So there we go. There's our tracing. That's how we're gonna measure what the nearest object is. Honestly, should be pretty good. I think if I reduce these close-up sphere casts, it'll also help. Okay, let's actually try doing this now. Well, you can do it by like prisms, yeah, but I'm only able to use spheres. That's the thing. I have to use spheres. I'm done with that. I'm done with that music mix now. Alright, let's actually calculate the occlusion. So, we've got the occlusion layer mask, we've got occlusion delay, occlusion distance, and then we'll also have occlusion near distance, or occlusion start. I think that's it. I don't need, yeah. What I'm wondering is if this system with the directional occlusion I was trying yesterday, if this is just going to immediately start working when I switch to the cone tracing. So hold on, just for a reference, I'm going to try with the ray tracing here to see what it sounds like. So this is the same thing we were doing yesterday. Smashing on the ground right here. When we go behind the wall, it occludes. It's not amazing because it doesn't really get that much more quiet when you go far away. But it is buggy in that when you go to the corner here, it's actually louder. Honestly, I'm thinking that's not a huge deal. Like, I'm actually thinking now that this doesn't really matter that much. Huh. What does this sound like without occlusion? So there's the kind of bug with it. You stand in one spot and it's quiet, and then you stand in one other spot and it's loud. That doesn't, yeah, that's the broken part. Okay, so hopefully the cone tracing will fix that. If not, I mean, at least the ray tracing will be way more efficient, even if it's a bit inaccurate. So I think I'm gonna save this. I'm obviously not gonna delete it in case we want to go back to this code. So now instead of just ray trace, we're gonna do our cone tracing from right here for float radius equals occlusion start. And then if check sphere. minimize this by making this a constant. And I think, yeah, it has layer mask. Alright, so then when it hits something, we're gonna set the distance to radius and break. And then it's pretty much the same. I just learned that from programming a lot. You just do simple solution that works. It's, yeah, this is technically already overkill, especially for this project. Like I've said, for this project, my idea is to try to make something that's not horrible. Alright, immediately it seems like there's a lot of occlusion. Now with occlusion. Wow, it actually works now. Wait. Oh wait, it's not resetting. Hold on. Hold on. It wasn't doing the right volume. So without occlusion, just sort of fades as you go away. Now with occlusion. The issue is it kind of happens in the corners here now. Yeah, it's like there's almost too much attenuation now. There's no fast and proper solution to this. Yeah, we'll see. We will see. You can find every sound source that's close to you. Yeah, I thought about doing that. I'm not going to do that. I am not going to do a ray trace to each sound source. So, okay, hold on. So that... Wait, so that's the directional source. Hold on. Let's now enable the wind, which isn't directional. This is the ambient source. Let's see if this sounds better or worse now. Okay, I literally can't hear the wind now. Okay, so I think something is broken because it is basically not playing. It is so quiet. I might have something wrong with my code. Total occlusion divide equal times occlusion distance. That's how it lights up total, or that's how it calculates total occlusion. That still seems like it's way too much. Hold on. I'm gonna debug what these distances are. So the distances are always 1. Oh my god. I'm not including the character in the raycast. I'm actually dumb. Holy shit. I just realized it's hitting the player in the raycast. No fucking way. So this whole thing has never been working properly from the beginning. Not even the raycast has been working properly. Okay. Alright, so what do you call this? Audio occlusion layer mask. And we gotta set this from here. So now we can set this to not include the player. Player is going to be ignore raycast. And actually, I'm curious, does this still... Ignore raycast is just a layer, right? Yeah, okay. Ignore raycast almost is like confusing because you think ignore raycast means that raycasts will always ignore that layer. But what it actually is, it's just a layer that you can use that's called ignore raycast that presumably you can use for testing ignoring raycasting. Alright, that's a bit better. There we go. Now it's like, now it's calculating, it's at least being able to send out the rays a bit. Okay, wait, actually, the top one, the max occlusion distance is 50. The top one should at least be like nearly 50, but it's not. So something else is going wrong. Could it be hitting the house? 2224. Yeah, so like the biggest one is still 4. I'm going to output the direction with this to debug it. Maybe my sphere is here. Oh, I'm supposed to do rad times 2. Radius plus equals rad times 2. Still, the biggest one is 9. That doesn't make sense unless I'm not visualizing these properly. I'm not doing them properly for whatever reason. Let's look at this again. So position is dir times radius. I wonder if my actual radius here is times 2. No, I don't think so. how is that different from down here? Am I calculating something wrong, or... I guess I could try reducing the radius. Yeah, here we go. So one is hitting 50, which is what it should be. So that's working all right. I think my visualization here might not be working properly. Hold on, let me try visualizing this. What if we apply this same matrix? Or what if we draw... Wait, there's literally under gizmos a draw wire sphere. Okay, we're just gonna do that. Do your times rad with radius square root 2f. So let's see if this matches up. Nope, it's too big. Oh my god. Why is radius bigger than what it's supposed to be? Anyways, there we go. Okay, so now that I know this is actually working correctly, let's try to get this working all right. Because it does definitely sound better for the ambient here. We have to accommodate it by turning up the volume a bit, but also I just realized I should initialize the volume to 0. So that in itself sounds pretty good. The issue is when you get closer to like walls, it gets quieter. Yeah, so that is kind of broken in that the most quiet is right here. Maybe it would be better if we made the spheres and the cone tracing a bit smaller. Hold on, does this do the exponent after the volume blend? No, it doesn't. Okay. Okay, so that actually has less attenuation than the ray tracing. of a sudden the wind just gets way louder. Yeah, I actually think the ray tracing might be better. Even though it's not perfect, it's still better. Well, I'll have to see. Hold on, I might be able to make it work decently. So this might be what I'm looking for. Separating the spheres a little bit. See if that works any better. Oh, it's logging to console again. So I was saying before how, like, so this game, I'm gonna do a lot of stuff that's pretty low quality. Like, I'm reusing textures all over the place. Textures might not even be that high quality. Like, but the whole idea is just to, like, practice. I don't know if even practice, but, like, do the best I can with the least I can. But then at the same time, I am trying to figure out some stuff like doing this audio occlusion. So I'm thinking of, instead of doing an exponent here, or doing a POW exponent, I'm thinking of doing something like a smooth step, where it actually makes it both louder and quieter, depending on the exponent, past the halfway point. So let's try that. Hair keeps poking me in the eye. Alright, here, attenuation exponent. So save this value. Was the equation again? Okay, that wind running in the background is going to get really annoying if I don't close it. Okay, let's see how that works. So raising the exponent should make that quieter, but then make it louder when we go outside. Maybe not actually. So I'm actually thinking there's a better way of doing this, and it's making it like directional, similar to the glass. I'm gonna try testing this with the glass and try getting the this directional source working all right. Because I'm positive that if I get the directional working properly, I can always make the ambient like a global direction. And then that will, I don't know why it keeps changing. Maybe it's like going through the wall a bit. Yeah, damn. I'm gonna go back to the old attenuation exponent. I'm thinking there's a better way to do this than dividing the occlusion by the distance to the audio source. I'm going to figure out a better way to do that, but hold on. I'll be right back. I'm going to go get some water. Hold on. I'm going to put some music on too.
You wanna stay?
will take away their home. The grieving won't be solved. Outside, but the love will come again. Who will cry that the love will take away their home? The grieving won't be solved.
Alright, we're gonna test the glass breaking again. Is occlusion on? Occlusion is on. So if we go up to any of these walls, that's weird how it was going on and off. Why is that setting back and forth? Is it colliding with the particle system? Hold on a second. If we disable the particle system, I actually don't get this. Is it setting it twice per frame? Is that what it's doing? I don't get why it would be going back and forth like that unless the audio source position is like changing. I still don't understand why it would be changing. It's not like any of this is random. Okay, so the question is, does that same thing happen when we use raycasting? I don't think it does. I think I tested the corners with raycasting and that didn't happen. So I can't get the same thing to happen. I'm really curious what was happening there. So what's different about these? That this one can actually change each frame. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna end up using raycasting. Wait, it happens whenever I'm in the corner. Wait, what? That's so weird. So yeah, it's from the audio source. I wonder if it's changing IDs each time. Occlusion OI equals distance. I'm not doing OI plus plus anywhere, am I? No, I don't know what that could be. Yeah, it's literally returning different results each frame. What the hell? What? Unity physics from coroutine. Can I not call physics functions from coroutine? Oh my god, here is the bug. Overlap sphere does not always return the same colliders. Oh my god, so it's literally different each frame. See, this is weird because I don't have anything moving, so this shouldn't be any different. I wonder if it's like a precision error or something. I literally don't get this. It calls the same function and it returns different results each time. I guess maybe we could check to see if the position is moving a tiny bit and that could be the source of it. It looks like, though, I'm just going to be doing the simple raycast method. have to manually call toString, otherwise it'll, I have to manually do this, otherwise it'll write at a really low decimal. Yeah, bugs resident sleeper. Yep, look at this. The position is changing back and forth. That is fascinating. That is actually fascinating. So look at that float value. So in one frame, it's 5.65999999, and then in another frame, it's 5.66. What is Unity doing? That's actually really... I wonder if it's the rigid body of the player going back and forth. Like, it's something about the actual physics engine. So I feel like the solution to this would be to floor. Does the vector quantize keep sign? No, it doesn't. I could fix this by quantizing the position, but it would make things less smooth. That's interesting. Okay. I'm gonna look at which one I want more. I'm thinking I'm gonna go with the raycasting. It's faster and it seems to be more just better. And I mean the overlap sphere still has the similar issue of getting louder around the corner. Yep. Yeah, we're gonna do raycast. Kinda disappointing, but at the same time it's good to try stuff like that and see if there's a better solution. Alright, I'm happy with that. It's customizable. You can change it per like sound source. That works alright. So let's see, let's just make sure the wind sounds okay now. I'm happy with that. I don't know why Unity keeps having some materials flashing colors, but I guess it's just something in the editor. Sound good? Thank you. I'm pretty happy with it. It works. And yeah, honestly, it actually does. So the thing is, I'm sitting here going, oh, this doesn't sound completely realistic. You can hear how the sound doesn't have a shadow from the house here. But then it's like compared to a bunch of other games where it's literally like sound off, sound on. I do think this is still a really good system. Like you go against the house and it gets quieter. You go into the house and it gets even more quiet. I am pretty happy with it. Does have some spots here where it like gets louder. But hey. Okay. I'm just thinking, like, is there anything else I want to fix up in this occlusion system? I think I am pretty happy with it now. Okay, so I was gonna get a sound for the fireplace. Because speaking of audio, so the fireplace makes a crackling sound. Honestly, though, on the other hand, I feel like that's something that's like polishing. Don't necessarily need to do that. And with the wind in the background, actually, yeah. Hold on a second, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. What the hell? Unity's displaying this vector as a color. How am I expected to edit a Vec4 as a color? Oh my god, this is so broken. There's literally no way to set these custom shader variables unless you make your own custom like inspector for each shader version. That's so messed up. And for whatever reason, the variables show up as colors. Even though this is a vector in the shader, it shows up as a color in the saved properties. Holy shit. It literally doesn't give you a way to access saved properties. It's kind of crazy. So I wonder if I absolutely need to create a custom editor. is it? Somewhere I have some code, I think, for a custom lit shader GUI. Here we go. Custom lit shader, custom lit GUI. Does this actually work? I can't remember. Custom lit GUI, custom lit properties. I can't remember if this keeps track of the changed properties. So then where do I display the custom? Okay, let's try this. Let's see if this actually... I remember doing this before, but I didn't end up using it for any of my shaders, so I think I ran into some issues with it. I can't remember. So then let's try custom lit GUI. Custom lit shader. Now how does the material editor look? Oh my god, it works. It has water speed at the top. Oh my god, I'm a genius. Thank God. I was legitimately worried for a second. I was like, man, this isn't gonna work, is it? Thank God. So there's a crappy water shader. I mean, it's better than nothing. It's supposed to be a rushing stream, so I honestly think this will do fine. I think what I should call it is scrolling texture shader, not water. actually, that looks pretty good. But it doesn't seem like... Oh yeah, because it's multiply. It's based off the brightness. Interesting. It's hard for me to tell. That's weird. It's not quite additive, but it's not quite pre-multiply either. Weird. I guess additive is supposed to be the pre-multiply alternative. See, alpha, if pre-multiply is working properly, then it should have an option for what's it called? You should be able to pass out brightnesses that are larger than the alpha, like not scaled by the alpha. Maybe I could change the blend modes or whatever it is from here. So there's color and then there's base color. Nope, none of those do what I want. Maybe if I do the specular workflow. Nope. So what even is the difference between pre-multiply and alpha? If pre-multiply doesn't actually... I don't understand. If this doesn't completely scale the alpha, then whatever. I guess it just doesn't work the way I think. That actually kind of looks like wind. Doesn't even necessarily look like water. I bet it's actually because, there we go. Now that looks like water. Now that looks like a stream. Okay. There was also another shader I was thinking of making. Which one was it? Oh yeah, wind shader of the trees blowing. I guess I'll do that. I'll do that afterwards. All right. So first of all, I think I'm gonna raise the ground a little bit. Probably add noise, I guess, to do that. Okay, that's weird. Noise field preview. Coordinate space world. Settings profile. Huh. Tool for painting height based off noise. It's just painting a solid block. It's not... It's not adding noise. Berlin, octaves, linearity, noise preview. Is there some option I'm missing? Okay, so there's some... Maybe the frequency's wrong, or... Oh wait, there we go. So the world positions used to generate the noise are just too small. There we go. It's still not chaotic enough. Oh. I just realized I can zoom out to do the same thing. Okay, that's cool. I'm not necessarily looking for amplitude. It's that I want the I want the lower heights to be about as low. Like, all of these are still building up nearly equally. See, I don't know what the red and white areas are. Why is the noise field always adding at least a little bit? Why is it still not really noisy? Maybe you're expected to also use one of these brushes. So now that's basically all red. What does that even mean? So red is where it's building up. maybe I'm looking for a different noise type. That's actually kind of what I'm looking for. Just plain noise. It's still not that random. This is what I'm looking for. Oh my god, I think value is literally... Oh my god, it has Voronoi too? That's cool. Okay. Man, these terrain tools, I'm glad I'm taking the time to learn these. These are legitimately good. Like, actually good terrain tools. Like, this Voronoi makes it so much easier to build, like, mountains and things. I want to see. I was talking the other day about how the player, at least the way I'm doing the player controller right now, it's really easy to get stuck. So we're gonna test this. How easy is it for the player to get stuck on these mountains? Okay, I'm already stuck. So it's pretty easy. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'm doing a little unstuck system where when you get your player here, it gives you the ability to jump. Basically after you've gotten stuck for a certain... See, it's really difficult though because it can't just be if you're not moving. It has to be like if you're trying to move and you can't move. I wonder if I increase the in-air acceleration with this. Let you get out. There we go. So if you give people the ability to accelerate in the air, you can get out of that way easier. But I am stuck in a hole. Oh wait. There we go. I wonder what a bit better character controller system would be like. Like, would it let you walk up these smoothly? Like, would it be a stepping system, I guess, where it maybe shoots raycasts down or something like that, so that the player can walk up curved surfaces. I wonder if I should accelerate the walk speed based off the slope that you're on so you don't slow down when you start going up hills. That might be a the play to do. Does seem to control pretty much fine though. Not really getting stuck ever. So I'm kind of like walking around the map because I was like thinking of making this terrain bigger. It's gonna be a pretty small first map, but I still think you need like a decent sized terrain to do like background stuff. Like even if you're walking through a small area, you still need like a bunch of stuff in the background or it looks really weird. But honestly, it takes pretty long to walk across this. I do think it's good. And then I think if I set the minimum normal to 1, I can climb walls. Oh wait, 0 I think it is, or -1. Yeah, this lets you jump anything. I feel like that is kind of a cool mechanic, is being able to climb pretty much anything. So now I'm thinking about this. How would I make this to limit it so that you can't climb on certain things? I guess you would just have to put like colliders and stuff blocking you from climbing. I think I can get on top of the door like this. It actually might not be a horrible system. You can't climb stuff like the house because if there's a tiny ridge you can't get over it. I definitely don't think it's that good though because it's kind of clunky. Is it the walking acceleration that makes you able to climb this stuff? Yeah, so if you increase acceleration, you can climb this stuff way easier. And your player accelerates way quicker. guess if I added friction though, it may not climb as well. That lagginess is kind of weird. I think it's because of the physics frame rate. Bounce threshold. Contact with relative velocity below this will not bounce. Frame rate independent interval that caps the worst case scenario when frame rate is low. Accepted events will not be performed for longer than the time specified. What does this mean? Worst case scenario when frame rates are low. Will not be for a longer time than specified. Yeah, I think so that... I think that's still fine. Okay, yeah, I like that. So interesting, it's not jittering back and forth now that the interval is higher. I guess that kind of makes sense though. Oh my god, I'm stuck. What would be a good way to unstuck? I'm trying to like purposely get myself unstuck to test this. Okay, how do I detect if the player's stuck, but still has stuff on either side? I guess, yeah, I'm honestly feeling like there's no good solution. It's just like you just get stuck. Or it's like, there's times when like the proper physics is for you to actually get stuck between two things. So I'm not sure there's even like a good solution. Hold on, I'll be right back. Hey, said who? Welcome back. I'm trying to figure out how I can change the color of this without changing the whole texture. I don't think there's a way. Ooh, shrimp. Tasty. So nicely. Do you like this song? It's called Johann Sebastian Bach Orchestral Suite Number 3, Air on a String. I did with garlic and honey and lemon. That sounds delicious. You're making me hungry. Oh my god, I think I found what I'm looking for. Diffuse Remap Min, Diffuse Remap Max. Oh my god, here we go. So this is the color multiplier. There we go. Okay, cool. So that is exactly... It's crazy, man. Unity literally has these variables for changing the color and tinting the terrain, and then they're not accessible in the normal options. You have to go to the debug menu. I don't know why, but that image isn't opening. Maybe Discord's just not loading. It's .jpeg, I'm sorry. Oh, I need to replace the .jpng. Ah, so .jpng isn't a new type that I'm not unaware of. Or that I'm not aware of. Wait a minute. Cannot be displayed because it has errors. Yeah, I don't know, the image isn't loading. JPNG not displaying Firefox. Is JPNG a legit format? JPNG is a new image format that combines the best of both of the other formats. JPNG is not really a format in its own right. It's a simple file wrapper that combines a JPEG and a PNG image within the same file. JPEG is used to efficiently compress the RGB, and then PNG press the RGB portion. PNG is used to store the alpha channel. That seems really dumb. There is literally JPEG formats that include alpha, and no one uses them because when you compress alpha channel and it causes like I like the apron too. Nice. Those also look like mozzarella sticks and make me want mozzarella sticks. That is my mom. Moms are awesome. Does this just make it more gray then? Yeah, okay, so that really makes it gray. She helps me cook because I'm not an expert. There's always stuff to learn from cooking too. Oh man, I really like this Voronoi for making terrain. Okay, now let's try eroding this. Actually, I almost feel like I should raise the ground a little bit more. This is mostly me just learning how to use these new tools. I feel like having all these erosion effects is a weird environment. Yeah, so this isn't... I'm actually trying to paint a base that's going to be eroded. The main map is supposed to be way more flat and close to the ground. But I want to experiment getting there through using the erosion effects. Because I think if I make it with the erosion effects, it should look way more realistic. Okay, so now that we have that, which one do I use? Wind. Okay, so wind is insanely bumpy. Unless I change simulation scale, wind speed, advanced. Oh my god, there's so many options. Not wind low. Water is probably what you want. Yeah, hydraulic is probably what I want. But I'm going to go through them one by one. Okay, that's actually pretty good. Oh my god. Wait, where do I change the wind direction? With brush rotation? Wait, what direction is it going? These terrain tools are actually so sick. Like, I'm gonna be honest, this is so good for developing terrain, and especially compared to, like, what you used to have. So, like, I don't know if you can see, but it's, like, literally doing a form of, like, ray tracing, where it, like, it puts the wind bumps here, and then there's, like, a shadow where there's, like, no bumps, because the wind isn't hitting. And yeah, it does look like so much more natural. Like immediately that literally looks pretty natural. Yeah, pretty happy with it. We all need simple brushes when I was trying Unreal Engine. Yeah, even Unreal Engine 4, I remember just using simple brushes. So having that here in Unity is like insane. Alright, let's try hydraulic now. Game is already scary. A lot of it is supposed to be ambient horror. I can't remember. Is it? It might actually be hydraulic. That creates little, like pools. Yeah, it is hydraulic. You can see it creates like a little like lake here. Oh yeah. Hydraulic itself is very useful. And then here we can change water transport, sediment transport, riverbank. I'm just impressed with these tools, like... Alright, and then... Thermal. Thermal erosion from freezing thawing processes and resulting avalanches from debris. Okay. Physical material property, dry sand. Okay, so let's do this over in the corner here. Okay. Oh, cool. So that does do like, so smaller stuff is like saved and the bigger stuff up top like falls down to the bottom in like avalanches. So wait, let's try snow. Okay, so snow sticks way up more up top. Quicksand. Quicksand really smooths out. That actually doesn't look as realistic as before, I guess. Or as natural. But I mean, hell, it's still really good. I gotta be honest, I'm pretty happy with Unity so far. I mean, it's not perfect, but they have some really awesome stuff in the engine now. It's like, it really just helps you. You know what's hilarious? I was looking at this map and I was going, man, this map is so small, I'm gonna need to make the terrain way bigger than this. And it's like, walking across this shit is gonna take like 5 minutes. Actually, wait a minute. This is just like 30 seconds. Alright, well... I'll add trees and stuff in the way so you can't walk straight. Need to make it 2 times bigger, maybe? The idea is this is just like the intro map. Or like, this is where you get lost in the forest, and then there's gonna be, well, you have like Slenderman. So I explained it yesterday. The game starts out, and you're in the house, and you gotta pick up this note that has your supply list, and it tells you to go pick up supplies. And then a thing will pop up on your screen saying like, follow the path outside your house to go get supplies. And you'll just walk outside your house and follow the path, and it'll go through a forest, and then in the forest, wind will blow your shopping list away, and your player will chase after the list, and then he'll like fall down a hill, and he'll basically like fall into a stream, or I don't know how to describe it. Like, he'll basically get knocked out, and then he's gonna wake up in a really scary part of the forest, and there is gonna be like basically the equivalent of Slenderman. Supposed to be actually like aliens is my idea. Is that like aliens have you ever seen X-Files? Basically ambiguous aliens. There's nothing that actually you see aliens. You never like see any proof, but it's like implied, and people who see, I don't know. It's sort of like believe what you want to believe. Pretty hands off with the messages. And yeah, that's the whole thing of what I was saying about ambient horror. The idea is to not really do any storytelling or direct lore. Instead, tell it all through simple environment stuff. You don't want to help the player. I was already talking about how like so I feel like it's obvious in this house. So I was saying yesterday about how my original plan was just you have the note sitting on the table here, and it's like, what people are gonna join the game and they're not gonna go and look at the note first? And then I realized there's so many idiots that are probably just gonna walk right out the door. They're not even gonna look at the note. So what I was talking about yesterday is how I think I'm literally gonna need to program the game to not make you leave the house until you get the note. Yeah. It's, anyways, so if you get it though, like, to describe it more, you leave the house, and it's supposed to be, like, pretty normal. Like, there's no real like, there's nothing directly scary. It's like there's the wind playing in the background, it's like a gray, dark day. You might hear some, like, rustling in the woods or something, but there's not, like, anything that pops out and scares you. It just, like, just makes you, like, I don't know. You watch the Antechamber Dev Talk. I feel like that was one I watched a while ago. I watched, you know the game Super Luminous? I watched a Dev Talk from that guy. Talks about how he developed his level so people don't get confused. Well, that failed for me because I got confused many, many times in that game. I feel like my art, I almost feel like you shouldn't try to stop people from getting confused. But at the same time, it's like if people leave the house or whatever and just walk around for like fucking 10 minutes and don't trigger any events because they don't go and press this thing, I should at least have something that like guides them. So let me try something. I had like a stream of water. So now this will appear like a body of water. That's actually pretty good. Oh my god, that's actually pretty good. So I'm trying to do things as simple as possible, but still make them look good and feel good while being simple. And I think it's working. Did you make that shader? It's not. It's literally moving the UVs of the texture. It's a scrolling texture. That's a normal map, and it's just scrolling the normal map. I was thinking about making a shader, and then I was like, nope, I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it as simple as possible. And then, so I think if I add the wind effect, it'll really add to the whole, hold on. Yeah, dude. That is an environment. That is an environment right there. That's an environment. I'm happy with that. It's so simple, but you know that you're in like a dark overcast day in the middle of like some mountains. It's like it sets the ambience. The simple things. The simple things. I will, though, a shader I will be doing is a wind shader. I actually was thinking I want to do parts of the game where the wind is literally tied into the mechanics. Like the wind, I'm literally thinking like, I don't know. It depends what I do. I have an idea that, hold on, let me find it. Anyways, I feel like some of this stuff you can't even talk about it. It's like you've got ideas in your head for what's considered to be scary or like creepy. And it's like I'll mostly just like do them, and if it works out being scary. I'm like, there's some stuff where it's like I don't know how to describe it. Like, making you think you're in a place that you're not, like making you feel like you're somewhere you've been before when you're actually not, and then you end up getting surprised. Aliens, weird creature. I also think it's like if you don't see the creatures, like there's so much stuff of like you see it quickly run by and you don't actually get a good view of what it is. So in your head, so like I remember this thing, it was like if you're trying to scare a kid, you don't say, "Oh, a vampire's gonna come get you," because there's a bunch of kids that's like, "I don't give a fuck about vampires, I'll stab it in the heart." But then if you tell a kid, "Oh, watch out, I can't remember what it is, like the fucking horrors or some shit are gonna get you," like some, basically like you leave it ambiguous. You say like the Dark Lord or some shit is gonna come get you. The kid won't imagine. The kid will actually imagine. Like you imagine the worst thing. You imagine worse than what I could actually. For example, like if I leave it ambiguous, people will imagine worse than I can even 3D model. Satan, I think Satan is a great example of that because there's a bunch of people where Satan would like a demon looking like Satan would legitimately scare a whole bunch of people, and then there would be a bunch of people that are just like, that looks like Hellboy. I'm the latter. I was thinking, I'm not sure if this is the type of terrain I want to go with. Honestly, it's not horrible terrain, so I'm actually thinking of keeping this. I'm the latter. Oh man, like Soma, it's scary possibility of the existential possibility. Through Soma, the one thing was I was constantly like thrown off, like at the beginning, because there was the whole thing about the WAU or like that like artificial intelligence system. I thought like the game was a simulation at the beginning. Like this creepy stuff isn't actually happening. It's just like a simulation that's gone wrong. But then, like, it throws you off so many times about what's actually happening. One thing about Soma is a bit too scripted. I feel like that's like, it's like a movie. Like, it's hard to get scared by the same jump scare twice. Unless you, like, procedurally, I mean, in games you can do procedural generation, which is the cool thing. For me at least, didn't enjoy the voice acting, sounded fake. I thought it's fake. So crazy. I think I commented that it sounded like a few of the voice actors were like devs. How do I sample the height? You can set the height, or you can control click on the terrain to sample the height. There we go. Dude, Unity's terrain tools are actually so good now. Like, I've been like going like, oh man, I'm gonna have so many issues doing like this development and stuff, and it is like, seriously, it's like the tools are so good now. Like, it's actually kind of crazy. Oh, I'm on top of the house. Oh shit, I fucked up. I moved part of the house. I didn't move the whole house. The door is still up above. Holy shit, jump. Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, I should probably put a collider there. I remember one time I was sleeping, I was like half awake and looked like someone was standing in my chair, sitting in a chair like a demon, so I got scared. It's nice, and one thing that will make it more scary, just make it hard for the player to know where to go. Don't make paths to where you want to go, to be honest. Or at least don't make it that clear so you'll be scared to be lost. Yep. At the beginning, that's the whole thing with you having the note, is there's going to be a path for you to follow, but you can also just like walk around the forest and waste your time in some areas. I guess the door can just stay up there for now. Alright, perfect. To be honest, like, this is not a very concrete science. Like, every game has to have a balance and order, even if the player has no idea what it is. So my rule is that I don't want the player, see, okay, here's the thing. I was about to say I don't want the player walking around with no idea what to do, but that's not the thing. It's like, people can be really stupid and confused even if you do everything right. It's like, I don't want, if people are watching out for all the pattern, okay, I've complained about this in some of the past games I've played, like Axiom Verge. There is no hints at all. Like, so the fact that I'll have like a path that you can take, or there'll be something in the game, like if you have to go and figure out to like go to this specific point, it's never going to leave you to just blindly do trial and error. There's always going to be some logical thing that's like, oh, I go to that point because previously in the game, this thing showed like a reference to that. It's like in Axiom Verge, I literally wasted like 2 hours of my time just walking around areas looking if I missed anything. Like that type of stuff. It's basically like, it's not that I won't try to make the player confused, it's that like there will be something to lead them on. It's like I'll never leave a point where there won't be anything for you to go on unless that's the point. Is like, there literally may be sections where I throw you in a room and you're like literally about to die, and it's like there's nothing you can do. Your player's basically going to go through a death scene and then end up alive, or maybe they'll die and maybe part of the game will be like going to heaven or hell or some shit. Actually, I was thinking that about the first time you see the evil monster in this game, it literally kills you and sends you to like the upside down, or like basically like when you die you go to another world, and then like the game mechanic in the game is like traveling between or it might not even be a game mechanic, but you just like script it, like you just go to a scary like ghost world. There's so many possibilities. So many possibilities. Like I said, I'm kind of just doing stuff one by one as it works, how it feels, which I think is the way to do it, because I definitely feel like there's some games I've played these past few years. Okay, yeah, here's the way I summarize it. There's a bunch of games I've played these past few years that feel like the developers haven't played their own game. That's what I want my game to feel like. I want my game to feel like I've played my own game. Have you seen, I forgot the name, it was made in Source Engine, it was about a game developer struggling. Oh, is it like the developer commentating on his own thing? Like you go through a level and it was like, this is the first level developed, and then it's man, there's one I saw where the dev actually died or something, and like they never finished their projects, and the person who released this wasn't even like the dev, it was like their friend or someone. Yep, he commentated about his friend. Yeah, that's exactly the one I'm thinking about. That's kind of scary, just a floating door. That could... What if there's just a floating door? I wonder how many people would even notice. Oh shit, I fell into the water. Good thing I put a collider on it. What if you have things up there like, dude, what if you have two worlds? That's kind of what I was saying about the ghost world. I'm gonna get on the top of this house. There we go. It's about the little things. You have two worlds. The ghosts can look to you and you can rarely see them, or like maybe they're demons like G-Man in Half-Life. Yeah, or like you enter into this like ghostly forest and you like I said, you can like hear stuff moving. Like maybe you literally see some like branches break or something, or like, you know how like you'll see like a door slam or some shit like that. Like things are being interacted with and you can't see anything. And then you'll like die or go to this ghost world or whatever it is. You'll go to the second world and you'll actually be able to see that there's like some ghosts or something, and they were what was like breaking the branches and stuff. Like you see in the other world that there actually were things like interacting. Oh yeah. Could literally have NPCs invisible who are affecting the world. Yeah, exactly what I'm thinking about. All right, I'm gonna go do some stuff for the rest of the day. I think I might stream tonight again, because I'm really like working on this, or I'm in the zone of. I don't even want to say I'm working on this, because if you remember what happened last time, I was making this game called, like, Spaceship Endless Runner was the project name. It was in VR. You just, like, drive a ship around this desert world, and I was doing that to learn, and then I ended up just going, well, I'm not going to make this game because it's garbage. Or I didn't really have a solid plan, and I was just testing out a bunch of, like, the ship mechanics. Hopefully with this one... Yeah, like, I don't want to say, oh, I'm actually going to do this project, but it's like, hopefully I will, so far I think it is looking good, so I do feel good about it so far. We'll see. Also, I'm really liking playing this piano music today. I actually think it helps me game develop better. Like, there's something about the old piano music. One thing. Is this like Star Wars music? Now that I listen to it. I rather keep my project private, or like I can say I work on it, but I keep myself in a position as if I have no project or it's not my project. I know it's kind of weird, but I always write everything, and that's classical. Yeah, that's why I don't want to go out and say, oh, I'm making this project. Because, like, yeah, I generally don't, like, my rule now is I don't announce things until I'm releasing it. Like, I literally don't do promotion or anything, and I guess I would do that if I do a paid product, but hey. Man, the shader toy community is so useful. Like, I swear to God, 90% of the times I have a math problem or something with numbers or geometry or like so much stuff with game dev is related to that. Anytime I have an issue with that, I go to the shader toy community or shader toy website, I search stuff up. Like, people have solved everything in shaders, or like the majority of stuff that I need. It's so nice. I actually think Shader Toy is like my #1 like programming community that I like in terms of quality that I like. It is so good. Alright, where do you go though? Just always be experimental even with a paid product. I also be like, it's being honest, like saying, yeah, this might not be released. Realism. Neither optimism or what's the opposite of optimism? Pessimism. Yeah, I'm tired now. It's better to expect less. Optimism is foolishness. I consider it planning alternative outcomes. You plan for bad outcomes, and you can also plan for good outcomes, so you're not surprised when the worst thing in the world doesn't happen. Alright, I'll see you around. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a good day, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. I'll probably be back tonight. If not, I'll be back tomorrow. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.